Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back once again. I believe this is episode 28. I can't believe we're rocking and rolling. I like to consider myself the host of this gong show. I am your Chuck Barris on this journey with these turkeys. We got we got a special guest as usual, Chris, joining us this week. We're going to talk about some dark side of the ring and some wrestling past things, and we're going to go into maybe put a pin in the wrestling talk and get heavy into the football, starting probably a little bit this week and then heavy for the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, we usually hit up Eduardo with the old
hey
with the whole bag of tricks.
the whole bag of tricks. Let me do the old Hawkeye Pierce from MASH. Let me dig down to the bottom of the thing is that I first and foremost I'd like to say to Glenn from Sarasota, Florida, thank you very much for listening to the show. We do greatly appreciate it, and thank you very much. I really feel like this is a great question tonight. This isn't like smashes on us guys, or this is actually a good question. It's youth coaches. Do you think coaches should be paid for coaching youth sports? Thanks, Glenn from Sarasota. I'll kick it back to you guys. You guys go first, and I'll finish it out.
I'd like to start with Chris because I've coached with Chris before, and we have we've coached some youth hockey programs, and Chris has had some good.
You coach the youths, huh?
Yeah. So Chris, take it away. Give us your thoughts on that.
So, question to ask is, why do we coach? Right. I got into it because I had somebody approach me and say, "Hey, why don't you try this out? I think you'd be good with the kids." And I love it. I love doing it for the kids, right? I think that's why we all do it. We enjoy just being around. I go out there. I'm running amok on the ice with them, chasing them around, making it good and fun for them. That's my favorite part of it, is just enjoying the interaction with the kids. And I'm there anyway, right? I'm sitting there. I'm bringing my son there for practices. Instead of sitting in the stands, I might as well be out there with him on the ice. So as far as getting paid for it, I feel like it's something that we do out of, just the pure joy of when we used to play hockey, or just being back out there. And again, we got our own kids that we're pretty much out there with all the time. So I don't see me wanting money for that. I will say and will admit, though, there comes the headaches with, the political games that get involved with coach hockey, coaches and youth hockey. The parents too, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to deal with. I think that's that's the toughest part, is dealing with the parents most of the time. Again, but as far as getting paid, I don't feel like I ever would take money for it. Right? It's fulfilling enough for me as coaching as I am again this year. I took last year off, but I'm doing it again this year to help out. And again, it's all about it's all about the kids. I do it for the kids, and that's what I'm there for. You know what I mean? So I personally wouldn't accept or want to take any money for it, but sometimes you think about it and you're like, damn, I'm doing all this extra stuff and I'm still getting shit from this one, that one. Not gonna lie, it does get a little
Tom, what do you think? What's your take?
Well, I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have any kids or anything, but I did about 20 years ago. I coached T-ball and I had a blast. And back then I could care less if I got paid. I was coaching with my dad. My dad was a coach and I had a blast. But now I have to tell you, now I think coaches should get paid a little bit, because as Chris said, parents are much worse than they were back then 20 years ago when I coached anyway. I mean, the kids now, everybody thinks their kid is, pick whoever your big athlete is in whatever sport you're coaching. I mean, they all think the kid should never leave the ice or leave the field. I mean, when in the youth rules, you have to play, like in baseball anyway, every kid has to play. Like in Little League, it's like, I think every kid has to play at least one inning in the field or get one at bat. So, I mean, there's a lot of headaches now that the coaches have to deal with that they really didn't have to deal with back then. So I say, yeah.
Dad, what do you think?
Well, I don't agree with getting paid for coaching. First and foremost, look, if your kid's special, he's special. They know when he's in the 7th grade or not, or when she's in the 7th grade or not, to take it to the next level. I mean, Andy, you can speak on this. We both know somebody in your family. She's playing at the next level, right? I mean, they know already, right? So the thing, no. I mean, I'm being serious. I'm not being snarky about this. I mean, I can honestly sit here and say, I mean, I made 25 cents an hour when I coached high school football. Look, the thing is like if you think like it's about making your community better and making everything around you better. Look, 99% of the kids that are playing, Little League baseball, Baby Ruth baseball, high school football, they're not going to the show. They're not even going to the next level. So the thing is that, hey, how about if you think you can do it better than the coaches that aren't getting paid, why don't you step behind the bench, right? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? You think that you know better than what they do? Okay, fine. You take the certification class. You do it. You come down and step out on it. Oh, wait, but that's right. You're not willing to give that time commitment to that in the kids. So, no, you shouldn't get paid. Like if you're doing youth sports, and I say that to be funny, it's not about getting paid. It's about making your community better. And the thing is like, look, most of the kids are playing sports right now. I mean, where I'm from right now, I had a kid that worked for me. Look, he is a senior in high school, and he needs Tommy John surgery because he plays second base. Dude, you're second base. There's no reason why on any God's green earth that you should be having to have Tommy John surgery on your elbow because you play second base. Okay? That's a pitching injury. That's not a second base injury. That means you are playing way too much baseball. You're not getting coached properly. You're not getting proper rest, and you're just playing too much. So, the thing is, coaches shouldn't get paid. And the thing about it is that funny story, Andy, when we went to the rink in Taunton that night, there was a thing on the side. There was a sign that said, basically paraphrasing, if you think your kid's going to make it the next level, well, you may want to make one another choice. Okay, that's my take.
So I agree with everything that you three guys said. Yeah, and I'm gonna take a different perspective on this. Not that I don't agree with what you said, and I'm not flip flopping or whatever. But you're
waffling, bro. You're a big waffle. You're a waffle.
We do wrong when it comes to youth sports in the United States. If you're a kid that grows up in Canada and you play hockey, say you had a second grade teacher named Mrs. Smith. Well, your second grade hockey coach is Mr. So-and-so, and he stays in that spot forever until he doesn't want to do it anymore, and he gets paid by the town to coach. So their coaches are tiered like teachers. They don't move around. They just stay where they are, and they get paid to coach. So it's almost like when you have a discussion about when you went to elementary school, junior high, or high school, who'd you have for this, who'd you have for that? Oh, I know so-and-so. I had him for my Pee Wee A team when I was in, fifth grade, or they stay there in the community and they get paid like teachers in Canada. And that's why they're rooted in and they're, part of the community. Whereas there's a turnover all the time with youth coaches because you tend to stay with your kid. And I had a discussion about that and it was an open discussion at a board meeting one time. How come we don't get people to stay longer? Because the rule is you stay with your kid. So if you have somebody at a mite level that's fantastic and they're not worried about getting paid, they're not allowed to because they don't have anybody there representing their family. So I think things like that could change a little bit if you find somebody that's like very good at what they do and they're willing to do it year after year and develop kids. That's fantastic. The money thing, I know in Canada it's based different. They actually get a paycheck like a teacher would for like a part-time job with the city or the town that they coach in, and they stay at that level. And I think for years on you create better players like that because of how entwined in the community those coaches are. So that's a great question as far as the current status. I mean, we don't even get. I mean, I have two kids that play. They don't even get a discount for two kids playing. So, I mean, and you coach on top of it. So that's a whole hassle. So as far as that goes, that's one of the better questions that we've had. So, whoever had sent that in, that's I think
that is a great question.
Yeah, I think it's a great topic for discussion. Like, if anybody has any more questions to.
I'd like to circle back on that actually, if you don't mind. No. I mean, you brought up a great point about like how they do in Canada, right? Like, hey, look, you're the second grade teacher, you're the second grade thing. Okay, that's great. But here's the thing that's how it is in Canada, And the thing about it is that here, like everybody thinks that kids going to the show, man.
Well,
Like they're not.
I
They're
think
not.
that having a coach like that that's entwined, it's like the kid that, you know, is really good in school. The teacher's not holding the really good kids back. They're trying to help the kids get better that are at the bottom. No kid left behind type of thing now. So it's like that with the hockey. It's not, you're not a good coach if you got horses. It's the kids on the back end that you are trying to make better to help that team win. That's what makes you a good coach. I'll go on record
Yeah.
for that all day.
Yeah. I mean, like
If you're the
like
A coach and you're
like, I
picking a team for A players, you got the best of the best. So your job should be easy. It's the guy
right.
on the back end that's got the kids that are either just learning or that's not their favorite sport. They just play it for the love of the game. Those are the
Well-
coaches that earn their stripes, are the ones that are on the back end with the lower tier teams.
Well, I mean, like when I was coaching, it was one of those things. Freshman year, you're kind of getting the introductory. I mean, like a lot of the kids, they've never played football before, right? They've never strapped on the gear, and if they have, if they have strapped on the gear before, they're going to a different position. Like a lot of these kids, they've played offensive line or they played defensive line or inside linebacker and stuff like that. All of a sudden, they get put out into space, right? And like playing in space is a whole different ball game, than putting your hand in the dirt, And the thing about it is that like, I think that part of it is like, it's like these kids get these unreal expectations that like because you're good at Pee Wee football or you're great at Pee Wee or the mite or or the bantam level in hockey that you're going to be great. And like really, no, you're not. I mean, so like the thing about it is like, how can you make these kids better and continue to like make them better in the community? I always had the good thing, the thing when I was coaching was like, are you going to be good citizens in your school? Are you going to be a great ambassador to your school district and that type of thing? Like that's something that you project on. What are you going to do for your community? I mean, I know it sounds cheesy and stuff like that, but I mean, that's really where I come from, man. I mean, look, and we all know I'm a freaking idiot when it came out to being out on the ice. Andy, you know it. Tom, you know it.
No,
I'm a jerk, but
Tom,
yeah,
no.
I mean, no, come on.
No.
But from a professional standpoint, I mean, that's really what I thought. Like when we were playing Knucklehead freaking University, when we were playing like Semho or, or the Boston League and whatnot. I mean, come on, we were playing cement heads,
So you're saying that's what you're going to cap this whole thing off with? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a cement head.
Yeah. So we could talk probably the whole half an hour about this question because it is one of the really good questions that we've.
It's a good one. It really is.
But as we're always strapped for time, and I like to keep it moving. We had two.
Well, I mean, people need to buy the shirts so we can go longer. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
buy the shirt,
yeah.
Right?
You want more time? Buy some shirts. That's how it is. We get the free Zoom. You get 30 minutes, so that's all we can give you.
Buy the shirts. Buy the shirts.
Yep, buy a shirt.
Tom Shitting Picks and Pushy's Phantom. Those are shirts. Buy the shirts. Buy the shirts.
So a couple passings this week in the wrestling community. We had a legit Hall of Famer, Terry Funk, passed away, and he had been battling some issues over the last couple of years. I think dementia and things like that. So I don't want to say I was surprised, but definitely a legend gone, like, from that Holly Race school. And his brother, Dory Funk Jr., is older than him, and he's still alive. So, and the one that just popped up the other day, which was super surprising, was Bray Wyatt. Thoughts on the Bray Wyatt passing? I don't know who wants to take that one first.
I'll go. Bray, it was a shock. And I mean, from everything I've read online, what his family has allowed in like the wrestling dirt sheets, they've come out and said now that he died of a heart attack and that he had heart problems and they were exasperated by he had COVID-19 over a year ago now, and that's why he's been gone for this year and a half. And I guess they're blaming it on his heart attack. They're blaming it on that was all the heart problems that he had from COVID. But the guy was an unbelievable talent that they really kind of dropped the ball with. I mean, they could have done so much more with that character, and he was really the wrong time for them because he's built for that 90s when it was anything goes era. Now with this PG thing, they kind of had to scale it back and just kind of put handcuffs on him. And he was so good. From what I read, he came up with a lot of his own like he helped design the mask that he wore, and he just everything I've read about the guy is as good as a performer and a person who was in front of the camera. He was like one of the nicest guys backstage, and I haven't heard one bad thing about the guy. And unfortunately, he leaves 4 kids, and his wife, who was the WWF ring announcer a few years ago, JoJo Offerman. So it's just a real bad loss. And people don't realize how good of an athlete he was. He played college football at Troy, and he was a defensive tackle.
Chris, thoughts on Bray Wyatt? I know you're a newer school wrestling fan, so do you have any thoughts on the past? And he was 36.
Yeah, no. Even Terry Funk too. You know, like I don't remember much of him, but his career was so long that even I caught a bit of it. Right, when he was tag teaming with Cactus Jack and going against the New Age Outlaws. That was my
Chainsaw Charlie.
Yes, Chainsaw Charlie. Exactly. That was my introduction into WWE. Really, it was. That's like literally the year I started watching. So, you know, him getting tossed off the in the dumpster off the ramp, you know, by the New Age Outlaws with Cactus Jack and himself and Chainsaw Charlie inside the dumpster was a huge memory of mine. So that was big. Pretty shocking, obviously. As far as Bray Wyatt goes, like the Wyatt family, what a interesting character that guy was. Like his vignettes were unbelievable. You know, those little side clips that he would do. You know, strange, right? It was like a cross from like a Chainsaw Massacre. It was like you were watching kind of like a horror movie, right? WWE style. Like the guy was just so creative, mind wise, with his videos and characters and the things that he did. And my favorite was when he teamed up with Alexa Bliss. Who doesn't like a little bit of Alexa Bliss, you know? So yeah, tragedy on both ends of you know, their lives ending definitely is pretty shocking. Yeah, especially with Bray Wyatt, such a young age. I'm 36, so just thinking he was literally born the same
You're
year.
a young bastard, motherfucker.
Ed, thoughts on the Terry Funk real quick?
Oh man, you know, Funk you, man. Man, just great memories with the guy. I mean, he just, you know, like he was the first guy out when, you know, when Mankind went through the cage that night, and he tried to stop it, you know, and just, and I remember just, you know, just really just was a really great guy. Just like he elicited that response out of you that the true guys that live their gimmick brought to you. And there's not a lot of guys that are around there that do that. And
Dude,
he did that.
So many Terry Funk stories. I mean, if you go and you do a deep dive on YouTube, you can get some really, really good Terry Funk stories. Like before he broke in the business, his father was having a big cookout for the NWA at the ranch in Amarillo, and he says to one of the guys, "Hey, let's go get some stuff." So I guess he had the key to the storage locker at the armory, and he got 2 hand grenades, and they had an old shed like on the property, and he tossed the hand grenades at the shed during the cookout and blew up the shed. So yeah, he was crazy. And my favorite promo, if anybody ever wants to do a deep dive, it's on YouTube. It's from like 77, 78. He's actually in Florida, and he's doing a promo where he takes a whole bottle of motor oil and he's pouring it over his head while he's cutting the promo, and the oil's going off for no apparent reason, just to show you how crazy he was. And you're talking 77, 78, and you know, we haven't even gotten into the 80s yet. In all the movies that he was in, Paradise Alley, he was in everybody's favorite movie, Roadhouse. You know, ton of movies he was in. You know, and he was the one that Sylvester Stallone actually took a real liking to, and when they were on the set of Paradise Alley, and that's what opened the door for a lot of these wrestlers through Sylvester Stallone to get into movies. And that's you know, so Terry Funk was probably like the gate to get a lot of these guys into, you know, mainstream movies, even as bit parts, but at least they, you know, could get SAG benefits and insurance and all that other stuff. So staying on the wrestling topic, we haven't had a chance to finish our season of Dark Side of the Ring, the last 2 episodes, the WCW episode with the Hogan Jarrett drama and the Marty Jannetty. what a character, huh? Just some crazy Marty Jannetty stuff. So what do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to do the Jannetty, or do you want to do let's do the
There's just so
Jannetty.
much to talk about with Jannetty.
All right, let's hit it. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, I mean, it's a cross between like feeling bad for him and calling bullshit on him, because I mean, there's so many things that it's just when you watched it, it's like, what the hell? Like, you don't know what to believe. Like his friends are even saying, you can't believe 99% of the stuff coming out of his mouth.
Because he's full of shit. That's why.
Oh, he's so,
honestly,
and you can tell.
look what freaking, HBK did. I mean, after he left him. I mean, like the thing about it is that those dudes were partying, doing coke, freaking partying, being rock stars. So I mean, like the thing is, my question to you, Tommy, is this. I mean, if so Heartbreak Kid, I mean, he went on and like he jumped to the next level, right? And they were already at that next level when they were together, right? So I mean, my question to you is this. So who's really the real problem, right? You can sit here and play the victim all you want, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's so jealous. You could tell he's so jealous of HBK. It's ridiculous. And they had Brutus Beefcake calling HBK an ass kisser. Well, I mean, all he did was play the game. If you know how the game's being played backstage, do what you have to do to get ahead. And I mean, if you see the problems that Jannetty, and you can see he's going to be an anchor with all the problems backstage and his drugs and everything. I mean, I have no problem with what HBK did, and it's just
you think by
he's
his
so
look
full of
he's
shit.
done drugs? You really think by his look he's done drugs? That's not.
Dude, we have seen him in person at some of these conventions, and I mean, there's no question whatsoever. The guy is.
I need to interject here. Lawyers of Bleecker and Cohog have nothing to do with this. This is a personal opinion of Tom Brown. To enhance our thing, just want to toss it out there.
So, Chris, let's you have the floor. Hit us with some Marty Jannetty.
Well, I think we all pretty much agree on the Marty Jannetty. I feel the same way, right? So I watched the episode. The guy's definitely a character. Perfect way to describe him. He's a character. Touching on Bash at the Beach there, though, that WCW interview real quick. I want to throw it out to you guys, a question, like, whose side are you really on that? Are you going to go with Vince Russo, or are you going to go, I mean, they're all bullshitters, they're all liars, right? That's what they do, right? Or are you going to go with Eric Bischoff and Hogan? My take on that is I felt like Hogan was just being a little Sally, like, Hogan, I'm sorry, your time was up. You did great for WWF all your years. You did good for WCW in those couple of years, taking away, the ratings and pretty much bringing from WWF over to WCW. But like, come on, Hogan, like, to give anybody a contract where they're going to have creative control of a show like that, that was a disaster, right? Not saying what Vince Russo did at the end, coming out and saying he got the fake belt and then having another match with Booker T and Jeff Jarrett. But you can see too, Jeff Jarrett, to me, in my opinion, is a straight up dude. Like that dude, I thought he, very honest about everything.
So you're gonna tell me, Chris, that you're gonna believe somebody that's had connections to the wrestling business for like 2 or 3 generations? Come on, man, you're better than that. Aren't you? But I mean, I see that Bruins sign behind your head. So I mean, I don't know.
That's not going to work for me, brother. It's not going to work for me. I think Hogan is, the worst thing you can do to a wrestler is give him creative control, because then, they're never going to, lose a match. They're always going to do what's best for them, not for, the product that you're, whether it's whatever federation you're in. Can I use that word federation anymore?
Oof, man, I mean, you're going way on the wire on that one, brother.
The Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the 3 W's. No, I agree with you.
Can't see me.
I think Hogan, he's always been all about himself, and he only wanted to work with certain people, and that whole, they should put that on a Hogan t-shirt. That's not going to work for me, brother. But he's been known. There's another thing, if you want to do another deep dive with all of Hogan's BS stories over the years and things like that. That's a good one too. I'm not saying he's not, a fun guy to meet or a fun guy to be around. It's just, you're if you're working with him, he's definitely you gotta watch out how he manipulates. But he's a master of backstage politics. That's his thing. So
You know what?
oh, go
You know
ahead.
what I think would be best? I think since you guys been looking for a celebrity, I think now that we're on all these platforms, if Mr. Terry Hogan himself sees this video, he needs to come on here and explain himself to all of us.
Oh, that's a good plug. I like that.
I like it,
Plug,
Chris.
but
I like
you know
it.
Hogan's never going we don't have the 50 grand to get him on here.
Yeah, and to spend 50 grand for half an hour, I don't even think that's worth it. You know what you could get in Thailand with 50 grand for half an hour?
Me love you long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as like the Jannetty and Dark Side, how'd you guys feel about the whole season? Are they getting long in the tooth with episodes? Do you think there's still stuff left to do? Like,
I think there's still a lot of tread on the tires. I just wish that they would start like kind of making it so like slanted one way or the other.
yeah,
Do you,
I wish.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's just like the 30 for 30 with Hogan and Macho Man and Ric Flair is they lean heavy one way or the other, and they make it look like this guy was more of a jerk than what he was. I mean, because the thing is, if we go back and we circle back to the Macho Man back in the day, and they're like, oh well, he had all these things wrong with him, and he was like super political and that type of thing, and all of a sudden they make it out to be like he was this big bad guy. And Hogan was like, and you can see when Hogan's talking, he's got this big smirk on his face, like he's cashing the check.
So,
and it's like, come on, man, like the dude died, and the thing is like you have his brother that's talking truth, and now you're talking smack about him. Come on, man.
yeah,
That's
I just
not
wish
cool.
that they would do them more when the guys are alive, so you could get their
I
side
agree.
of things.
I agree.
But it's tough to do one after somebody's passed away. I know that they were talking about doing a Superstar Billy Graham one now. You had them all those years. I don't know why they didn't do it in the first season, but we got to push it along. Tom, we got to get your shitty picks for the week.
Tom Shitty Picks. Tom Shitty Picks. Buy the shirt. Buy the shirt. It's Tom Shitty Picks. Buy the shirt.
Embrace the suck, people. All right. This week I'm going
Buy the
with
shirt.
my picks last week were okay, just okay. Bryce Elder went 1-0, but his second start got pushed back because the Braves are doing so well. They went to a 6-man rotation, so he didn't have the 2 starts that I thought he would. My hitter of the week last week was Bellinger from the Cubs. He's doing okay. He's got 11 points going into tonight's game, and he's got tomorrow's game. But this week coming up, my pitcher of the week, I'm going with Justin Steele from the Cubs. He's got 2 starts, one against Milwaukee and one against Cincinnati. Steele is 14-3 on the season. He's got a 2.80 ERA, and he's second in the majors in ERA. So I think he's going to get a lot of strikeouts this week. And my hitter of the week is Freddie Freeman from the LA Dodgers. He's got 3 against Arizona, and then he finishes up against his old team, Atlanta. And he's just been lighting up Atlanta ever since they let him go to the Dodgers. Whenever they play Atlanta, he lights them up. So I think he's going to have a big week.
So that we're going to condense a couple segments together. We usually have a buffer in between, but Tom, we're going to do album of the week. We kind of have a semi-new sponsor to talk about. It's go ahead, Tom. You can.
Yeah, Mike. We're going to be sponsored by Purchase Street Records. They're Southern New England's largest independent record store, and they're located at 53 Pope's Island, Unit 2, New Bedford, Mass. Or you can go online at purchasestreetrecords.com. And I got to tell you, we know Roger Chouinard, who owns it, and if he doesn't have an album for you there in person, he can get it for you. He is phenomenal with that. And so my record of the week this week, I'm going old school. I'm going to go with Rush and Chronicles.
What?
And it's phenomenal. It's double compilation CD. Got 28 songs on it, including Tom Sawyer, Closer to the Heart, La Via Strangiato, Spirit of Radio, which there's some pretty fun. I'm reading up on this album. There were some pretty good stories of it. Like Spirit of Radio, they wrote it to talk about how bad rock radio had gotten back in the back when they wrote the song. I guess it was like in the late 70s, early 80s. And 2112, which was a 20-minute song that they had to condense down to get it on an album, which to get it down to 7 minutes. And then they ended up making a comic book out of it.
a lot of good Rush tunes.
Oh hell yes.
I mean, if you listen to any classic rock station wherever you live, I mean, they're playing a ton of Rush songs. I mean, Fly By Night, that's on there. Like Tom said, Tom Sawyer. There's so many Rush songs, and everybody knows a Rush song. Whether you know who they are or not, you know a Rush song. Little fun fact with the wrestling that Kerry Von Erich used to come to the ring for his entrance music to Tom Sawyer by Rush back in the World Class Championship of Wrestling days. So
that was ESPN AWA. Am I correct on that one?
Yeah. So with that being said, we got about 4 minutes left. We usually do the quick shout outs. Chris, you got anything this week?
Yeah, just to touch real quick on Roger there. Thanks for that. Helping the boys out here. I can literally probably throw a rock with my baseball arm and hit his record store. That's how close I live. So I will be by there to visit real quick. As
cool
far
t-shirts
as
there. They have really cool t-shirts. They have really cool. Even if you're not into albums, they have really cool like music memorabilia and stuff like that.
Yes, they do. I had one sent to me.
Yeah. You should.
I did.
Next week, wear it if you can, Ed. If you think about it.
Awesome.
If I can find it. I will be by there soon.
Cool.
I will be by there soon, definitely. As far as shout outs go, I got a quick shout out to little Mr. Sauce and Special K. I had to watch their podcast. It's a great podcast, the Special Sauce podcast. Loved it. It was awesome to watch a couple little people talk some good stuff in there. So keep on working hard, kids. Good job.
Ed, you got anything this week?
Well, I'm just gonna piggyback on Chris. Keep on rocking in the free world. Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna say, can anybody save us? Could it be Jesus? That would be a slap shot reference. No. Thank you very much for everybody supporting us. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you very much. And I really don't have much else to say, which I know that comes as a shock to everybody.
You're doing great. We're all counting on you.
Thank you very much.
And Tom, what do you got?
Well, tomorrow I have my first fantasy football draft of the year, and it's with the boys. I've been in this pool for 30 years now. And
30 years.
30 years with the same guys. One or two guys have changed, but the Portuguese Phantom's going to be there. So
you wearing alligator shoes?
I want to give him a shout out, but also tell him that you might as well just give me the money now because I'm winning the pool.
Good call.
Okay, so Tom. You're wearing alligator shoes. You're flying. You riding Lear jets, driving like limousine riding. Just
so, quick shout out. I just want to say thanks to everybody that has been really supportive with the audio since it went live this past week. All 27 episodes are up there. Friends, family, even if you don't have YouTube or access to it, if you want to listen to it in the car, there's so many avenues. I think there's like 6 or 7 different ways you can listen to it. Spotify.
Because we're awesome.
Yeah, we're working hard.
We're awesome.
We're like awesome. Flea market quality, but we're going big.
Fishing every day.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up this week for these 3 turkeys, and I appreciate every time these guys come on. We're getting closer to 30 episodes, and that's the thing. We're almost at the halfway mark for the year from when we started, and we're just chipping away. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that listens and watches, and keep coming. You never know what we got on every week. It's a surprise.
Yeah, buy the shirts. Stop being so cheap. Buy the shirts.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.